What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. We have Marc Hoberman here, and I'm super excited to have him on the show for today because he's about to drop some golden nuggets for you guys. You already know how we do week in and week out. Marc, what do you have to say to everybody before we get started today on the show?
I'm just so happy to be here. I want to thank them so much, and I hope they get some good information that they can use to improve their lives.
Oh, awesome. And that's what we're all about here. So whatever you got to do, like, share, eat some good food, drink some good water, raise your vibrations, because it's time for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Let's get it, everybody.
We're going to keep doing stuff like this all winter. Christmas is coming, Thanksgiving is coming, everything.
It's about keeping our families together.
God bless this organization.
Go, man. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV with your boy, your host here, Dano, giving you guys the golden nuggets that you need to get through whatever it is that's going on in your life. Or if you're at a spot where you don't want to be, we're going to tell you how to get to that next level as well. And let me rephrase that a little bit, because there is no such thing as the next level, right? We are where we are, and that's okay. But if you're not where you want to be, we're going to get you to where you need to be as well, because Marc is about to drop some golden nuggets for you guys. And his, background really started within the whole school system, which I know many of us, some of us probably haven't been in there for a hot minute. So just to see, the different progressions on how, the school system is nowadays versus when we were back in school, all the golden nuggets that it takes with the discipline, getting good grades, but he's going to tell you all about that. So I'm going to wait for him to come on. And I'm just really excited for this episode. But before he comes on, you already know what we got to do. We got to do a few housekeeping things. Not really housekeeping, but I'm just really excited because we're bringing back. This is kind of an on the street segment. So let me know what you guys think. We're going to be doing it in a little bit of a different format. We're going to be chopping it up and sprinkling it throughout the entire show for today. So just to give you guys a little glimpse of what I did literally today. Here it is. Here's a glimpse for you guys. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dano here in the streets, but we're in the streets of Camden this time instead of Philadelphia, and we're here at the Cathedral Kitchen for a very special event for today. There is a culinary graduation that Tashay is going to be explaining what's going on for today. So, Tashay, what's going on for today?
So today we have graduation. All the students cooked all the food, all the desserts, everything. So it should be an amazing time. It's a 15-week program. You have Chef Nye as your chef and Miss Janae as your social worker.
Hi, I'm Chef Naima Retline, and I am the head chef instructor for Cathedral Kitchen.
My name is Janae Dingle. I am the social services coordinator for the program, and I am also the social worker for the program.
Hi, my name is Thomas Clare.
We have Noreen here. Noreen, can you tell everybody what it is that you do here at the Cathedral Kitchen?
Sure, Dano. I am the Senior Development Director, which means I do the fundraising and marketing for the organization.
That's just a little glimpse of what's going to be going on throughout the episode. Stay tuned. Like I said, like, share, do whatever you got to do to raise your vibrations, because Mark is going to drop some golden nuggets. And before he comes on, let's open up our book of affirmations for happiness for today. Let's talk about what we need to do in order to get happy. Here it is. Let's see. Number 53. I'm getting better and better at cultivating my joy. The more I practice being in a state of joy, the easier it becomes for me. The more intentional and consistent I am with this new daily practice, the better I will feel. My joy is growing exponentially. And I love this. Is the reason why I love this is because this is an ongoing thing, and learning, never stops. I mean, think about it. If we were to take learning and put it on a heartbeat monitor, right? We have our days where we're learning a lot, or not learning anything at all, or even in the negative sense, is like, all right, we have to unlearn maybe some past things that really doesn't serve us. If we are going like that and we're putting it on a heartbeat scale, that means we're still alive. But if we flatline when it comes to learning, that means we're dead, and there's just no reason for us. And we can never really know anything. So the power of knowledge is ultimately important in whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to get started with a new business, then you need to learn how to start that. If you want to learn how to grow your business, then you need to learn, read from other people that have more experience or have done better than you. And then that's when you need to learn. So learning just really goes in every single facet of our lives. So without further ado, everybody, we're going to be, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, let me just say a comment. Thank you, Lou. I appreciate it. Let's go. Let's go is right. So it's time to bring Mark onto the show. And please, guys, drop some fire emojis, some great comments, whatever you got to do. Please welcome Marc Hoberman onto the show. Let's get it. Hey, Mark, how you doing today?
Great, Donald. Great to be here. So nice to be a guest. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for coming on here and sharing, your wealth. And because we all know when it comes to knowledge, I mean, you really can't put a price on it, because that's going to be the difference to take you where you want to be and where you are right now, or just helping somebody else in this world. And like I said, you can't put a price tag on it. So thank you for coming on for today. So, Mark, talk a little bit to us about what you have going on with Great Success. What is that, and what can people expect to, what can they think about when they hear about Great Success?
So Great Success Education actually started, I want to say, 1997. And it's a tutoring business. It started as basically SAT and ACT prep, so mostly high school students. And as the years grew, you want to grow your business, you want to scale out. When we started to get to be the trusted company, we added all levels. So if somebody, I'm an English teacher by trade, but if someone needs math help, they don't want to call me unless they want to fail the test. So we have other people who are experts in that. So basically it was a tutoring business for many years. Then it became tutoring plus courses in schools, online courses, both in-person courses. We were online before COVID was even a word. Mm-hmm. And, then there's the other aspect of our training business. We'll come in and I'll do study skills for health and wellness and to reduce stress in schools. I've done it for sports teams. So it really is everything education. And there is a part to it that is also for corporate. So I like the fact that you gave a great opening about learning. So education, I want them to get out of the realm of education is that schoolhouse. It's not. It's the schoolhouse of life. And you never stop learning. I have a tutoring business. I never want to stop learning.
I love that. And, you know, one of the things too that I've been really, really getting into is reading books. And it's like you said, when it comes to textbooks, you know, they're great for, I guess, foundational learning or learning like different terms and everything. But when it comes to real life knowledge or, you know, street application to everything, pick up a freaking book, guys. Because like I said, I've been really heavy into reading. I've been reading right now. It's called Mindset, the Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. I've been reading this, Grow Rich with the Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And one of the reasons why I really love it is you're taking somebody's entire life's learnings, lessons, experiences, and cramming it within, you know, 200 pages, give or take. Most books are that way. So why would you not take that advantage of somebody that's gone through a lifetime of learning through successes and failures and apply it for yourself? So I'm really big on that. But Mark, did you always know that, you know, teaching was going to be your passion, or do you always know you were going to go into that field?
Interesting. So, first of all, the mindset book, the whole staff at a school district I was at read that. So I love the fact, and I used to not like nonfiction, but you're so true, because you can get a wealth of knowledge from a 200-page book or even less, quite honestly. I have to say that I always did want to be a teacher, but the statement was 50 plus years ago to my parents, I'd love to be a teacher. If I win the lottery or inherit millions of dollars, I'll be a teacher. Because you don't get rich in teaching, but as you get older, you start to learn maybe money isn't the only thing. But when you're 10 or 11 years old, money and toys, they are the only thing. So yeah, I always knew that. I loved the look I got on people when I taught them something new, or not as a teacher, even as a person, told them something new. And I also loved learning. Not that I was bad academically, but I loved learning about so many different things, music, different things in sports. I'm not the biggest sport fan, but the sports I liked learning about. So absolutely, I think, I can't say it was in my blood because there are no relatives who were teachers, but definitely it was on that top of the list.
And, you know, that's amazing, because like you said, a lot of people nowadays, whether, you know, they're in college or just kind of the mindset of everything is it's all about the dollar, and people will work their entire lives doing something that they don't want to do at a job that they don't want to be at, being around people they don't want to be near. And then, you know, later on in life, they learn that lesson where like, wow, well, you know, what was I doing this entire time? Because I think everybody comes to that point in their life where they just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's when they make the change. Mark, if there's somebody right now who doesn't know what they want to do, or maybe they do know what they want to do, but they don't have really the courage to really go into that field where they want to do and what their passion is, what advice would you have to give for them?
Kind of simple. Don't do it alone, because I love what I do. I think I can teach up with kind of the best of them up there, but I wanted to grow my business years ago. If I have a dog, my dog knows more marketing than I do. So you either market badly, as I did on Facebook. My post, my son would write to me and say, what was that post? Who are you writing to? Look at this product. I didn't know what he was talking about. You know, why don't you do A/B split testing? I said, that's a great idea. I don't know what you just said. So bottom line is, there are haters out there. No doubt, Dano, you know it. But there are many people in your life who you know you can trust, and who will pick people who you know will be happy with your success, not jealous of your success. You don't need 40 people. It'd be great if you have 40. You have one, that's enough. 2 or 3, great. Tap into other people's knowledge. Tap into other people's mistakes. When I've coached people how to open up their own tutoring business, my goal is, let me give you an hour's talk as to how not to waste $21,000. Here's how I wasted $21,000. That's more important than here's how I made $21,000. So don't do it alone. Bring other people in. Make your own decision, but make informed decisions.
100%. I agree with that, because I believe it's Dan Pena that says, you know, if you show me your closest circle of friends, I'm going to show you your future. And that's so important, because, you know, even though we don't have to be a product of our environment, they do have an influence on whatever it is that you want to do. I mean, I've had a conversation with a friend before. This was maybe 5 years ago, where he asked me, he goes, Dano, like, I have no idea what I want to do, but I know that the friends that I'm with, they're not the people that have the same goals and the same drives as me. Like, what do I do? And it's like, man, you got to have the courage to cut the cord, because you got to know that, one, if you're releasing something, you're just making space for even greater things to come in. And then number two, if you're not happy and your peace is not, you know, you don't have peace, then that's the number one red flag. And we're going to shift, topics right here. We're going to talk about really the school system, Mark, because I know it is completely changed nowadays. I remember when I was growing up, and I don't know if it's still like this, but the school system that I was in, it wasn't really the best, not to, compare to anything. And I remember every day we would, not intentionally, I guess some kids were intentional, but they like wanted to make the teachers cry and they just didn't want to listen. And, from the teacher side, we didn't really think about, her perspective and what it's like to be in her shoes. Mark, can you talk about some of the hardest things that you've had to overcome, with teaching? I mean, I know you teach all different types of people, but, in the school system, what have been the biggest obstacles for you?
I wish I could say, no, I'm glad I can't say. The biggest obstacles are not the children. Okay.
Wow.
A lot of people think it's the children. When I wanted to go into teaching, I had friends who said, why do you want to go into teaching? It's so political. And I said, what do you mean it's political? I'm going to go in, I'm going to teach my lesson, close my door and go home. Wrong. So you have state exams. There are great plumbers, bad plumbers, great musicians, bad musicians, great administrators, bad administrators. So there are a lot of boxes you have to check off. So to me, through the years, I think that education has been too much flavor of the month. Mm-hmm. Just when something works, all of a sudden they bring something else in. And I'm not saying change is bad, but I've seen us drop too much of the rudimentary skills and too much of what worked. Quite honestly, I've done okay. I think I'm a good person. I know I'm great friends, much to your quote before, is I believe you are what you eat and you are who you hang with. Mm-hmm. So, and I did that by going to school and not having 400,000 standardized tests and all these other things and politics brought into the classroom. So it's very tough. So teaching changes a lot. And I think that we're going to come back from this. We're resilient and people in education are resilient. The pandemic killed education. And we haven't seen its effects now. We have seen it. You haven't seen the last of it for years to come. There's ways to combat that, but not to give a long-winded answer, but it is so involved that there has to be proper training for students, but there has to be proper training for teachers. And there has to be proper education and information to parents, because I call it the triangle of education. You need the school, the teacher, and the parent. The school, of course, encompasses the kids and whatnot. Sometimes you're missing the parent. Sometimes you're missing the teacher's buy-in. A lot of times you're missing the kids' buy-in. So it's not a perfect science, but I think we've lost our way a bit. I've often said on shows such as yours that I hope someday we're doing a bake sale to raise money for tanks and things, because, there's no war and we don't need money for that, because to do bake sales and things like that for books, for dictionaries, and every school district is not created equal, and they're not financially as well off or as, financed as some of the other districts. So there's wonderful things in education too, but it's an uphill battle. A large percentage of teachers, especially in inner city schools, I think the average teacher leaves after 5 years. So we have to have better retention. But if it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a country to raise a nation, for lack of a better term. I do believe that education is the panacea. So you want to fix things, anything, the things that adults have messed up, that I've messed up, that maybe you have messed up. The secret is in the children. That's where all the resources have to go, by both emotionally and financially. We're not just teachers. That's another problem. We're in loci, we're the babysitters sometimes, we're the teacher, we're the psychologist. We're sometimes the only stable function that the student has in their lives. So it's a wonderful, I don't want to turn people off, it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done, but it ain't easy. And don't use ain't. I'm an English teacher.
Yeah, well, there's so many things that you just talked about that it's just such a different time period. I know one of the things that the biggest challenge is technology nowadays, right? I know of kids that, are using ChatGPT to use, some of their essay answers. And, when it comes to the focus rate or, the attention span of these kids, they've grown up with these devices right in front of their face. So, retaining their attention is another, issue that you might have. How can teachers really use technology to help benefit their students versus, like you said, it's just all doom and gloom? What's the trade-off with that?
Well, blended learning, bringing all that together is essential. You can't be in a 2023 world and not include the things you just mentioned, because the kids are going to include them whether you want to or not. This is a very fast, funny story. I only heard of GPT, GPT? Maybe 5 weeks ago. I was tutoring a student, great kid, and I said, I can't believe you didn't do your homework. I mean, I can't fail you. I'm your tutor. I'm not your teacher. I said, but you have to do your homework. And he said, you're right. I said, I deserve an apology. He said, I'm going to text you an apology. I get a text 20 seconds later. I understand that homework is essential. I can't believe, I'm so sorry, disrespect. I said, wait a second. How did you write this in 20 seconds? That's how I learned about ChatGPT. And he said to me, here's what I said. Apologize to Mark and tell him I'm sorry that I didn't do my homework. That's all he said. And this came out. So I love technology in addition to. It has no place instead of. So, you want to bring it into the classroom. You want to have a modicum of respect from the kids that, hey, we're going to use this, but not to say I'm the boss, but this is the room. These are the rules. We want to incorporate it. I think you should ask the kids. When I've done my class rules at the beginning of every year, I taught for over 32 years. I said to them, what rules do you think we should have? And if they said we should go to the WrestleMania every year, my answer is that's not going to be a rule. But someone will raise their hand and say, we shouldn't curse in class, okay? Or they shouldn't be vulgar. How do you want to word that? So you have to institute these things, smatterings of them. Thank God, when I got a smart board, my kids almost threw a party. You don't know anybody with handwriting like me. So these kids were looking on the board and, ready to fall over because I could write something on a piece of paper. You can go in and get a prescription at CVS with what I write. The handwriting's awful. So I used it for that, but then I had the ability to press it. I don't want to tell you X, Y, and Z. Let me show you a 30-second video clip from YouTube that will enhance the lesson. I don't need to show them a 42-minute movie, but why not incorporate those things? Because if you kind of manage, not control, if you manage the technology along with the students, no matter what the age is, what do you guys watch? Listen, I've done lessons on Shakespeare from The Simpsons. All right.
Wow,
so I've compared Romeo and Juliet. I hope you understand when I say this, the Little Rascals. I don't know how old you are. So there were skits from Little Rascals about Romeo and Juliet, and you can compare that to, and it's funny stuff. Some of them I've never seen before. You have to institute that because, on a different note, it's related. I worked with not some great teachers, masters in the classroom. Well, during the pandemic, something happened that rarely happened before. The kids knew more about the lesson than they did because the kids knew how to operate Zoom better than the teachers. So you have this teacher with the wealth of knowledge, and they don't know where the unmute button is to start the lesson. This is obviously in the beginning. And then at the drop of a hat, they had to receive training. So I think learning from your students is great. I've given, between business and school, I've given 500 PowerPoints. I've never done one myself. I say, to them, come here. I want that phrase to fly in from the left. I don't know how to do it to this day. But the look they get when they can help you, you learn maybe 20% of what you see, 40% of what you hear, 60% of what you do, but you remember 90% of what you teach. So let them teach you.
100%. And I agree with that too. There's something about being involved in it. I mean, I remember even, when you're in third grade or second grade and the teacher says, hey, can somebody help me with these chairs, and you think that you're big and strong and your confidence goes up because you know more, or, not really, I guess you could say in your case, they know more than you. So it's like, wow, I'm teaching the teacher. Now I wonder what he can teach me when it comes in the, the classroom as well. So it's very important. And they do go hand in hand versus, I've had teachers where they just think that they're superior and they don't want to work with the students. But I think technology could be that bridge where, one hand washes the other, because we are kind of in that sweet spot where, a little bit past it now that, everybody really knows how to work technology, but, use it, as you just said, to your advantage and see what different ways you can captivate these students' mind. So Mark, I'm just going to take you out for 2 seconds because I want to give 2 shout outs and I'll bring you right back. So everybody, there's 2 things that have going on that I want to let you know about. Number one, on April 29th, we are going to be having the Village Spring Fling. Just in case you're in the Camden area, I wanted to let you know about that. And I don't know why that's not in here. Oh, because I brought it up on the thing. Okay, so at City Hall in Camden, New Jersey, the Village Spring Fling, hosted by Takes a Village Housing, is going to have an event where you can just come out, learn about the different resources, in your area. I'm going to be your MC, and there's going to be so many great vendors and companies out there to show you what you might be missing out on. So come check that out. And then there's one more thing that I want to show you guys as well. And here it is. This is what I went to today. This was the culinary, arts program that the Cathedral Kitchen is having. And when I tell you this event, I went to the graduation. So I went to when all, everything was feeling great and everybody was having such a good time. But if you want to learn how to cook and learn the culinary and baking arts, they do it for free. It's a 15-week culinary course. And when I saw the amount of tears that these kids had earlier, and let me not even say kids, because there were people older than me. It was just such an amazing event. So if you're interested about that, please let me know, and I can get you into connection with the right people. If culinary arts is your passion, or if you need to find a new field, just let me know, and I got you as well. So we're just gonna play one quick video again that we had from earlier. And Mark, I'm gonna ask you the same question. I'm gonna cheat a little bit, but I'm just want to play this video for you guys just to hear what was going on inside of these culinary classes. How are you able to tailor yourself to 17 other students at a time?
Well, when you do stuff, you do it with love. And I feel like, anything that you do, it should be coming from your heart. And although, yes, I have 5 children of my own, wow, and they're all young adults. And these students are young adults, and I didn't have that much mentorship coming up the way that they have it now. So my biggest thing is, if I was able to help change someone's life, whether it was in a good way or professional way, even just life circumstances, I'm here and I'm willing to put in the work with them. And when I go home, that's something separate. So the professional life and the personal life is 2 separate things, and these are jobs that I signed up for. So it makes it that much easier, especially when you do it from the heart.
So I would say, everything and anything is manageable. If you really, really want something, all you have to do is sit down, and that's what I'm here for, right? Like to sit down with them, and to individuals. We started with goal plans first, because I believe in order for, if you put off tomorrow what you could do today, it'll be 5 years. A lot of people think next week, but sometimes it's 5 years. I know so many people who look around at their lives and they're like 40, 50 years old, and it's like, I haven't accomplished anything. And it's because it didn't start with a goal. You have to write down the vision to make it plain. So I try to make sure that when they get here, we do goal plans. A lot of my students took it very, very seriously. They were able to finish your goals plans before the expected end date, and we were able to build another one. And that's what we try to get them to do while they're here.
So that was just a quick segment literally from today. And one of the things that I want to talk about is the last comment that she made was about people always putting everything off until tomorrow to do what they can do today. Number one, this is the youngest that we're ever going to be. So if you have something that you want to do, just do it now, because we're not getting any younger. Number two, if you're in a position or at a job or at a home that you don't want to be in, the amount of mental and physical stress that you're going to have accumulated over years when you do start whatever it is that you said that you wanted to do, it's going to be a lot harder to fight through that and to shake that off, because it's just building up as a mountain of negative stress and energy. So just do it now. And number three is, please, if it's coming up for a reason right now, because you're queued up for it, whether it's from a higher power, if you believe in a higher power, or it's just your intuition speaking, or it's just something that you just have a hunch that you need to do, follow that hunch, because right now it's giving you the roadmap and the easiest way to accomplish anything it is that you want to do. Right now is the perfect time, and there's no other choice and no other time. I mean, there is a choice, obviously, but if you don't follow through with it, then it's just going to be a lot harder. But Mark, I want to ask you that same question. I know you've taught, thousands of people, maybe even tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I'm not sure, because power of the internet, but how is it that you're able to tailor yourself to each individual student? Whatever it is, it can be a student of your 1 minute educational series, or your school, whatever it is. How do you tailor yourself to each student?
It's really all about relationships. You have to meet kids at their reality. You don't know what's going on in their homes. That's why you have people come in and you say, hey, why don't you be the one to wipe the blackboard? Well, they may not have any responsibilities home, or maybe too many. Or when they teach you, they get that smile ear ear to ear because no one's ever asked them for help before. No one even knew they had a skill that they should ask them for help for. So you really have to have a relationship. I mean, obviously you have to know the material. They have to have the confidence in you. So you must have confidence in yourself. But it's about relationships. It's find a commonality. I don't care what country you're from. I don't care how old you are. I was not born this age, thank God. So if the kid in front, anybody who's in front of me, I was that age once. So you really have to meet them at their reality.
100%. And I feel like that's so hard to do. I not that I'm a teacher, so I can't speak for it. It's probably easy for you, but I can only imagine just trying to meet all of these kids at the different energy levels. Like you said, the different things that are going on in the home that you don't know about. And I think that's so important. I mean, the best teachers that I've had, I've always remembered that they'll take the extra time, extra 10 minutes or 30 minutes to stay after the class because I didn't know something about the material, or just to say, hey, what's going on? How's life going for you? And even in the morning, just, hey, what's going on? Just spending that extra time with you. I remember there's one teacher, his name's Mr. Kelly. He would always just let us go during our lunch break into his class and to really teach us the information and just give us, it might have been some questions on the test that he did give us. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, but that's what I needed to know, is that somebody was there for me to really help me push through to that next level and, get ready for college and all of that great stuff. But just to know that somebody was there for me made the world of a difference. Now, Mark, if there's some teachers that have kind of that disconnect with their students, what advice do you have to give for them to say, hey, you are able to connect with your students no matter what they're going through?
Great question, Dano. For some, it is an innate skill. For others, it's not, but it can absolutely be learned. Circle back to my earlier statement. You need teacher training, and not just here's how you get them to pass this exam, but here's how you connect with kids. It might be learn to ask questions besides what's 2 + 2 and who wrote Macbeth. Ask questions about what'd you do yesterday? Hey, what kind of music do you listen to? Okay, I see you have new sneakers. Just get a conversation going, but that's just the lighter side. I've written a couple of books, a memoir. I wrote a book for teachers for classroom management and lesson planning that just speaks to this. And it's not automatic, but if you went into teaching, there's a spark in you, unless your two favorite things are July and August. But otherwise, you went into teaching because you want to help children. You want to bring people to, as you said earlier, to the next level from wherever they are now. And if you have that passion, then you want to be better at what you do. I wanted to be better at business, so I joined guru groups, I call them. And it costs a lot of money. After 10, it's a lot of work. But, I had a judo instructor years ago. I should have kept with it beyond the orange belt. But he said, oh, you think I'm the best one here? There's always somebody better than you. So what I was proud of most was that even 20 years into teaching, when I thought I had it all and I had a great reputation, I went to other people's classrooms who kids were bragging about. And I said, you know what? This kid is always late to my class. I'm in the hall and I see he's always in that classroom on time. So I went and I said to that teacher, he's never on time to my class. It's the same kid. It's the same 4-minute passing. What's going on? And you learn from others. I said this earlier. That's my mantra for many things. You have to learn from others. Bring other people into your circle. Look, there's going to be people who either aren't great teachers or are burnt out or don't like kids. I don't know how they ended up in teaching, but they don't like kids. And that's going to be there. So don't gravitate over there. Gravitate over here. Get over and learn from the masters. The kids know who the masters are, the master teachers, before the teachers and before the administration. The kids know immediately. The first 10 minutes in that first school day in September, and I taught in New York, so it was always starting September. 5 minutes. I can get over on this teacher. I'm going to bully this teacher, or this person means business. Get that set in the first 5 or 10 minutes. You got to follow that up, every day consistently, because kids need consistency. So yeah, it can be learned. If you have the passion and the love, you can get better, no doubt.
100%. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned from reading, Mindset by Carol Dweck is anything can be learned. I mean, the classic case that they use in the book is Michael Jordan, right? He wasn't always the best. He got cut from his high school team, as everybody should, or even if they don't know, there you go. There's some free game for you. But he learned how to be the best to play all time. And, some people debate 1 or 2, but it really doesn't matter, because even if it's 1 or 2, he learned how to be that great, person and that great the best of whatever his craft was. It happens to be basketball, but he learns how to be that fantastic. And I want to talk about the point that you just said, which is a master teacher. Is that, the same definition for everybody, or what is a master teacher to you?
Right. So it is not the same for everybody. First of all, also, so you mentioned mindset and a growth mindset, and John McEnroe was mentioned a lot in that book. It wasn't obviously just Michael Jordan and whatnot. So that's what it's all about, a growth mindset. And the same thing as a teacher. You have to have a growth mindset. Am I the teacher I was my first year? No. My first 5 years? No. My first 20 years? No. So a master teacher to some people means a master at the content. That is not my definition of a master teacher. If you are a master of the content and you're teaching 7th, 8th graders or any level, and you don't have good classroom management skills, you will never be able to impart that information you have. So what? If you're a great classroom manager and you don't have any real information and knowledge of your content, you might have a great management skill, but there is no better classroom management tool than a great lesson. So it's about the balancing act between the two, mastering the information, the content, and mastering the delivery.
100%. And, they go hand in hand, because I've had teachers where, and not even just teachers within the school realm. I mean, I've had, spiritual teachers, or I've had teachers, business coaches. It's all about the delivery as well, because there would be something that they would deliver it and it would be like, okay, like, this is great. This is exactly what I needed to hear. But the way they went about it would, rub me the wrong way, and I wouldn't really be open and receptive to it. So it's really not about always what you say, it's how you say it as well. So, Mark, how long have you been teaching for, you said? Because I know you just mentioned the 20-year mark.
Yeah, so I retired after 32 years. I could have taught longer. I loved it, but I usually had about 100 students a year. And I really, as you said, because of the internet and whatnot, I was effectively helping a lot of people change their lives, learn, but I wanted a bigger number.
100.
I'm a selfish teacher.
Yeah.
So I think over 3 decades is fine. My first 8 years was in the Bronx, and I learned a lot about classroom management there, and had fabulous colleagues there as well. But I retired after 32 years to grow the education business, to grow my speaking business, which of course includes, 2 different talk shows that I have on E360 TV. I think you're familiar with that phrase. So yeah. So, it was 32 years, and I'm still teaching, but not in that way. I'm doing different courses. I have tutors who work for me, and I'm training teachers, and I'm training tutors, and I go into schools, and I go into corporate. I do anti-bullying. The bully in a corporation is the same bully he was when he was 11. He's just got a bigger belly and more power. So, and he's 34 years older. But other than that, yes. So I'm always, I hope to do even better and better in business and scale my business. I will always be an educator first and a business person second. Always.
100%. And, I want to talk about that. Going into year 1 versus going into year 32, what were some of the biggest differences? Because I don't know if you were scared going into year 1, and then, did you feel like you were a master at year 32? What was the biggest lessons that you learned at the end of year 1 and at the end of year 32?
I'll go backwards a little bit. You're not a master unless someone else thinks you're a master. So it doesn't matter that I think I was a master teacher. I've gotten some great compliments, some great feedback. I was on years ago, ratemyteacher.com. I do go by results also. You give somebody a test and get, the teacher, sometimes teachers, everybody gets a 50. I knew you didn't know the material. Well, who taught the material? So it's not all about the numbers. You need a 4-hour show for me to answer that question. So I'll try to Evelyn Wood speed reading version for you. Was I scared? You're being too kind. I went into a school in the Bronx. I did not have a teaching degree yet. They were short on teachers, and they had a new rule that originally you needed 12 education credits to teach. I had 6. They gave me 6 credits for my undergrad. And if you sign a paper saying for a year, in 12 months, you'd get the other 6 credits, we'll hire you. The principal, I'm not making this up, great advice, gave me a piece of chalk and said, and I quote, try to keep them seated. So I go into the classroom that had bars on the windows, every classroom. So I didn't know if the bars were there to keep out criminals. I think the bars were keeping me from escaping the first day. So I will tell you that I went in, I believe I was hired in November, which is very tough coming in mid-year. When you start mid-year, it's very tough because the kids have their cliques, the teachers have their cliques. And in the first 10 minutes, I wrote my name on the board. You know, I told you I had bad handwriting. So I wrote Mr. Hoberman on the board, uphill, horribly. And it was a special ed class that legally I wasn't allowed to teach. They put me in anyway. I didn't know I wanted to be a teacher for sure. Never had teacher training. And I'll use a word that's no longer, you know, politically correct today, and it shouldn't be. I wrote on the board, and all you heard while I was writing was, you don't have to write that big. We're not that retarded. Now, turning around is what saved my career. I turned around and I said, nobody should ever say you are, and I don't believe you are, but I'm going to give you a writing assignment, and I bet you're going to prove to me how smart you were. He wasn't expecting that. He was expecting, shut up, get out of the room, go to the principal's office. So while I'm saying that, and maybe my ADHD, I got a pretty fast brain. I'm already planning how I'm quitting on at the end of the day. So the rest of the period went off, and a kid got up and he said, Mr. Hoberman, my brother taught me how I can make a bullet go off without a gun. Would you like to see it? And I said, no, that wasn't good enough for him. He put the bullet down. He picked the chair up and started banging on the bullet. You're not supposed to leave a class alone, but what did I care? I was quitting anyway. I left the class alone, and the class was NIEH. I didn't know what that meant, neurologically, intellectually, emotionally handicapped. And I had no assistant. I was not supposed to be there, and couldn't find anyone. Came back, finished the lesson, made a couple of jokes, and I'm looking into the principal's office to tell him, thanks for everything. I'm not doing this, and he's not there. I figured he ran out of the school because he thought I was going to kill him. So he wasn't there. I'm in the hall, and someone said to me, who are you? I said, I'm the new teacher. Are you Mr. Hoberman? Yes. I'll never forget the name. He's got to be about 46 now. You know, we had this really tough kid, Felipe Gonzalez, who really said, wow, that new teacher is really cool. So I felt good about myself. So good that I said, all right, I'm not quitting today. I'm quitting tomorrow. So the next day during lunch, they said, and that's when I got the name Hobie. Half the people I teach don't know my name is Hoberman. Hobie, during your lunch, you want to play basketball with us? And I did. And I loved it. And I blinked. I said, okay, I'll finish out the month. I blinked, and 32 years later, I retired. So was I scared? There was such a growth process. I had the best of intentions, and I had the energy. I was a young teacher. I'm telling you, at 24, when I went home, I don't remember my head hitting the pillow at 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's a demanding job. It's the most rewarding thing I've ever done, except being a parent, obviously, and hopefully a husband. But it's just so rewarding. And, you know, it's like I had a music teacher who taught me piano. I did chords and stuff and taught my kids. And I said, do you understand that you're a piano teacher and the kid goes like this, and 7 years later, if he's with you, he's playing classical and he's playing Billy Joel? You did that. That's huge. Now, as a teacher, we don't get to do that because we don't have the kids that long. But I know that a kid leaves knowing a lot more and reading and writing differently. And in my world, more importantly, has better character education than when he walked in the classroom. Because that, to me, was a very important part of my educational experience that I was providing. So, yeah, there's not doing everything you want to do creatively because you don't have tenure yet. Then be able to put your foot in the water and being a little more creative because, hey, I have tenure. Not like now I can hit the kids, but
no, yes,
stuff right now I can strut my stuff a little bit more. But there are trials and tribulations along the way. But you know, there are days you go in and you see the school play and you see these kids outside of the school environment, and you meet the parents and you go and chaperone school dances and you go on field trips. We had overnights to Washington, D.C. I mean, after my first year, I said, you know, maybe I should pay them to work. I'm really digging this. Then you have your bad days when you're like, why the hell am I still here? And then those peter off a little bit, and then you find you a mojo. But you're not finding it week 1. You're not finding it week 2, month 6, year 3. This is an ongoing process because when you get great at something else, I had grammar books. They came in after year 6 of me teaching. We're not teaching grammar this way anymore. And the grammar books went out. And I'm like, this is what I did for the last 6 years in creative writing. So you got
to adapt. Yeah, you got to adapt to new things.
If you can't adapt, not for you.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too, because I feel like that's the second time that I've heard this today. And I know earlier when I went to the graduation that it's just synonymous and in alignment with what we're going to be talking about today. But she said the same exact thing that you said. And I think everybody needs to have this mindset is that she said, wow, I'm really surprised that, you know, I got to do this for free. I should be paying them because that's how much I love this, you know, and just the fact that I think everybody should have that, where you just love something so much that you just can't believe that you're actually doing it. And if there's a dream or something that you want to get started, just freaking get started. Don't worry about what's going to happen. Just know that, you know, if you have the confidence within yourself, if you have the ability to learn and not think that you're a master from the beginning, you know, that humble portion, and just to really have the energy to do whatever it is that you're going to do, that's really the recipe for success. So we're just going to play a quick commercial from our sponsor, and don't go anywhere. Like I said, like, share, do whatever you got to do to raise your vibrations. And we're going to be right back after a word from our quick sponsor. Everybody, that was just a quick word from our sponsor. Thank you so much, E360, for sponsoring this episode with Marc Hoberman. And I actually don't know why it's not showing up the name in the bottom right corner. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know how to fix it. But anyway, you know, we're here with Marc Hoberman as well. Hoberman, excuse me. Hobie, there it is. I should say that.
Okay,
yeah.
Nobody knows me by that name.
Yeah. So let's dive into it. I mean, you know, we have so many things to talk about in such a little bit amount of time. Hobie, you have 2 shows on your own. Can you let the people know what can they expect, and, you know, where to find your show and what it's about?
Sure. Thanks for that, Dano. So I have 2 shows. It started with lighting the educational flame, and I want people to, I don't equate education with academics. People have to get that out of their head. Education is part of your entire life. You never stop learning. So I have spoken to educators and owners of institutions of higher learning and things of that nature, but it was a lot of celebrities and people, and it's not Hollywood-ish. I want to know the story behind the glory. So it morphed into my other show, which is also behind me here, Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. And that's, you know, I've had a lot of football players, Curtis Blow, who's the creator of hip hop. I had the Zombies, who are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've had Kevin Sorbo, TV Hercules. But it's not about when's your next movie coming out. It's what did you learn? How did you hone your craft? How did you get better? So those shows, can all be seen on both E360 TV. Lighting the Educational Flame is Monday evenings at 9 p.m. on the Fresh Takes portion of E360 TV. Wednesday night is Life Stories with Marc Hoberman on E360 TV. Both of them have YouTube channels, Life Stories with Marc Hoberman and Lighting the Educational Flame. And they are on Tribe TV and Scribe Media and other places like that. Luckily, the Life Stories show was picked up about 6 or 7 months ago from AMG Media out in Canada, headed by Mark Berry, huge in the business for 50 years or so. So what they can expect is what I wanted to do all my life. I want to teach. I want them to learn. And I do learn from my guests also, but it's kind of got that different vibe of almost like this, like you're having coffee with a friend.
Yeah, 100%. So thank you for giving your plugs in there, because, you know, if you need to go find some more, you know, educational pieces and more golden nuggets, go check him out. Hobie, my guy, on E360, as well as many other platforms as well. And we're going to ask, there's so much that I want to ask you about, but, you know, we only have a limited amount of time. So we're going to ask a different question. Well, not really a different question, but a question that you might be biased towards. And here it is. In today's age and time, where you can take so many courses and certificates and learn about, you know, everything through YouTube University is what I like to call it. Do you think that college is necessary to be successful nowadays?
I've had that question before. Your introduction to it was the best because of look at all these other things. So it's not what I think, unfortunately. It's what society thinks. There are some jobs that you could be phenomenal at that you cannot get without a college diploma. It used to be you can't get a good job without a high school diploma. Then it became you can't get a good job without a college diploma. Then it became you can't get a good job without a master's degree. So what I'm hearing is more learning is important to succeed in your job. Does it have to be in the college classroom? No. But college now is very different. When my sons went to college, they saw things in college. My son, I was talking to him, one went to Cortland, and SUNY Cortland, one went to the Rutgers Honors College. I called my son, I said, what are you doing tonight? I'm going to a lecture on whatever. I said, wow, that sounds great. Is that your poli-sci class? He said, no, it's just lectures they sponsor. I said, wait, you're going to a lecture you don't have to go to? What did I send you to college for? You know, so I said, I think that's tremendous. So I don't care where a person learns. I mean, I don't want my doctor not going to college, you know, so, yeah. But there are so many business people and so many who have made not millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. So what's your goal? To learn more, to make money? So the answer is yes, it's necessary. No, it's not necessary. It depends on many things. Mm-hmm. Can you be successful without college degree? Yes. Does it help most people? Yes. But I want education, even in elementary school, through college. It's about relationships also. I know people who I've tutored who they almost could have tutored me. They were amazing. They couldn't work with other people. They lasted a month on a job. I've taught Harvard graduates, job to job to job. If they're in a cubicle, they thrive. And that might be a good thing for them, and that's fine. But if you can't work with a team, if you can't absorb and change, if you can't go into the culture of an office and try to blend in your own culture with it so people are that team thing, what have you done? What have you accomplished?
100%. And that was one of the things that when I asked my questions to the people earlier, to the students that graduated, they said the same exact thing, that, you know, they've been cooking ever since they were kids. But when it comes to the, you know, professionalism and the environment, they just weren't able to work with each other. And that's one of the things that they taught in the class, you know, earlier at the Cathedral Kitchen. And of course, technology always likes to act up, because I had that exact same conversation that we were talking about in the video format, but the video wouldn't export. But, you know, that's very important as well. Just because you might be the greatest at something, it takes a team effort. And I want to take the Michael Jordan example again. You know, it wasn't until he had the right team built around him with the correct coach and, you know, Scottie Pippen and all the other people, Steve Kerr, that played their roles. That's when he started to win the championships. And he realized that from, you know, going through his college career and everything, it wasn't just about him. It's how can I be a team player and get everybody else involved with everything that I'm trying to do as well. Hobie, we only have a few minutes left, and there's two questions that I really want to ask you. So we can try to just condense them. And I know these are going to be loaded questions, but let's try our best. So number one, how do you respond, or how are you able to cope with the fact that, you know, we might not be able to save every student? If there's a teacher out there that really wants to help a kid, but, you know, some kids are maybe beyond that threshold of their ability, not to say that somebody else can help them. What advice do you have to give for them to say, hey, you might not be able to save everybody?
There is no satisfactory answer to that, because you can't save everybody. So I would say, and it's an honest answer, you can't save everybody, but save everybody you can.
I like that. And, you know, it's so true, because I think we could all start with ourselves. So if you can teach that person how to save themselves first, then, you know, it's a chain effect and a ripple effect. One teaches two teaches four, and you just exponentially grow that. And if everybody adopted that mindset, then the world would be a lot better place. But I agree with you 100%, man. It's a cold, hard truth in the world. But, you know, if that were the case, then we wouldn't have that contrast in this world. We wouldn't have people that rank, you know, not really superior, but they wouldn't rank higher compared to other people. So just understand that you got to teach them how to save themselves first, and maybe they can go for, you know, longer and help other people out. So the final question for today, Hobie, and we always wrap it up with the same question. Here it is. If there's somebody right now that's in their deepest, darkest times, they're not sure how to get out of whatever it is that they're going through, what advice would you have to give for them?
I always go back to learning. I wrote a memoir. I was diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 16 and a half. And don't let your struggles define you. You define you. If you think you're alone in a struggle, I haven't met anybody, nor have you, who didn't struggle. I'm blessed to have many friends. All of them claim to have a really crazy relative, and you know who they are. So everybody's struggling. So you're in a world where it took me months to learn about. I wanted to keep my illness close, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And epilepsy was my enemy. I made it my friend, and I learned about it. But it took me months to learn. Well, you can learn in 40 minutes on the internet what I learned in months. So what you do need a support system, and this is why a lot of people, I think, relapse. And I've worked with a lot of people who are in the substance abuse industry. But the person, you have to be the pinwheel. You have to be the linchpin of that pinwheel. You have to be your supporter first. It can't be everybody else. Everybody goes through rough times. You can never control everything, but you can always control your attitude about everything. So it starts with you. Just don't do it alone. If you don't have friends out there, there are support groups, there are agencies. This is a great country. Anyone can succeed with or without college, with or without friends. Hopefully they have friends, but there's help out there. There's books, there's YouTube videos, there's courses online. There's so many places to go, and it's not easy. Start small. Don't say, here I am, I got to be here by Tuesday. Not happening.
Yeah.
So, small steps, have patience, but be your own support system, but learn something new every day. Be better tomorrow than you were today. Doesn't matter how much better. Just be better.
100%. I want to add to that too, because like you said, 40 minutes can really be that difference in your life that takes you from, being all the way down here to give you the confidence and the motivation. I don't know if you've ever read The Art of War. I can't think about who it's.
Last name is Sun Tzu.
Oh, no, I was thinking there's a different one. It's called by Stephen something. Stephen like Wessick.
He may have done a business version, but the Art of War, the famous one, is Sun Tzu. Yeah, but there's a vision. Yeah, I think I've read that. I've read The Fifth Discipline also. Forgot who that was. But all those things, they're just, there's some gold out there.
Yeah.
For $15, you can buy gold.
And you know what? I want to cut that. It's not even $15. I found that audio book online on YouTube for free.
Yeah, so you're right.
Just type in the name of the book, and that's one of the things that they talk about is resistance, and something that I thought I knew what resistance was, but it's really formless, shapeless, doesn't have a sense of taste, sense, smell, seeing, and it's when you really dive deep and you go to search for that knowledge, that it will present itself to you in the form of a book, in the form of the conversation that we're having right now, other people's circumstances. If you seek, you will find. So Marc, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, where can they go to find more information about all your services that you offer?
Sure. Thanks so much for that. So 2 places are the main hub. Gradesuccess.com, GRADE, success.com for a lot of the educational things. There's a lot of great information on marchoberman.com, MarcHoberman.com. Don't put in Hobie. You won't find it. So that, and the show, Life Stories with Marc Hoberman has its own website too, but the gradesuccess.com, marchoberman.com. And if people want to email me questions, things that they want to learn more about from this episode, they can just write to info@gradesuccess.com. That's the best way.
Perfect. Awesome. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching and tuning in today here on the Weekly Dose of Dano platform, giving you guys the golden nuggets, like I said before, to take you from where you are to where you want to be. And we're going to give you, the practical advice and not just say, oh, well, feel better or you can get through anything. No, we're going to teach you the steps on how to get there as well. So, Marc, Hobie, thank you so much for coming on today, being transparent and spending some time with the Positivity Posse. As for everybody else, I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks. Take care.